Welcome back. So we had completed step number 6, which is the port opening. That has been done. In fact, for the HTTP protocol, we open port 80, and as well as it needs to be for the MySQL. It needs to be something like 3306. That both the things you can enable at the same time. Make an entry on that. The next one is the firewall entry needs to be made, because not only the port needs to be open, because port is something which is internally on the server, but then there is a network as well. On the network there is a firewall. So in the firewall also you need to inform that to allow the specific port access. So we need to make this entry: sudo firewall command zone public add port 8080. So that needs to be added. So we are adding that. So this is success. The next one is we just need to reload that, because once the port entry is made, only reloading will ensure that it is getting activated. So we'll do that. So firewall reload, and that is success as well. So we have the the WordPress runs on the Apache server, so we need to start that. So to do that, sudo systemctl start httpd. So that needs to be started, and you can also see the status after the start. Sudo systemctl, then status httpd. See, it says running. What you could generally do is, you can start, you can even stop it as well. Say for example, sudo systemctl stop httpd. So this will stop the services. Sudo systemctl stop httpd. So this will stop. And now if you look at the status, it's all stopped. So you need to, so particularly during development, you just wanted to test out, you can do that. And after testing out, you just don't want the web pages to be visible to the external world, then you can stop the services. That will stop all the Apache HTTP server will get stopped, so that the pages are not visible to the external source. And then whenever everything is ready, or whenever you are working it, you want to test it out, then you can just start the service. So we will start it, because once you start it, you can just point this server and server IP on the browser and check its status. So this is done. So let's now get into the browser and see how it looks. So I'm just pointing the IP address of the server here, and this is what it opens. It opens the setup which needs to be completed, but here if you continue, then you need to get into the MySQL, where all the username, password needs to be done. But unfortunately, at this stage, we don't have the MySQL up and running. So we need to pass the configuration of the WordPress site, and we need to progress with the MySQL, have that completed, and then come over here and complete all the configurations through the browser in. So we'll see the MySQL install in the subsequent presentation. Thank you. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So now that we have done the initially we started with PHP, and then we have the WordPress installed, and even we are able to access the WordPress because we had the Apache server up and running from the browser. When we point the IP address, we were able to access the WordPress as well, but we were not able to complete the configuration because it connects to the MySQL database, but we have not yet installed and configure the MySQL part. So we need to go ahead and do that now. So if you look at it, we have completed till this stage. This stage you can check the installation of WordPress and open the IP address, and the page WordPress page would open on 7. is completed. The next one is installation of the MySQL. So we will have that installed, the MySQL. So we are installing the MySQL one pretty fast. That is done. Next one, the MySQL server needs to be installed. So MySQL server. I think, as I said, all this depends on the particularly your internet speed. So this should be a little longish one. So it's just 2%. So we will probably we'll regroup as it completes towards just 4%. So once it completes about 90%, we'll see again. So it's almost 96, 97, 98, 99. So this should complete now. Say yes. Yes. So that is complete. The MySQL server is complete. We need to now start the MySQL server. So this is the one, sudo systemcl start a MySQL. So we have to start that. So MySQL server start is done. The next step is to crypt the password, because this is the password we need to, while connecting through the to the MySQL, you need to initially a password is required, which is automatically created. So you need to crypt that password. So we will crypt that MySQL log. So this is the password, a temporary password. So you need better you copy it over here. You copy it so that you need to use that password. So this is the password. So I just copied it. And final step is, of course, the sudo m install, because the shell is required, because when you use the MySQL sh, this is the shell, that is a later command for connecting to the MySQL database. So you need to install the MySQL shell as well. So we'll do that. So installing the shell now. Package will be installed, dependency resolution, I'll say yes. Now this seems to be much faster. I mean the downloads. Installing MySQL shell, it is installing it. So just give it a minute. Yeah, okay, that's also complete. So all, I mean, the installation part is now done. I mean, the MySQL installation is done. So after this, we need to configure the MySQL database using the shell, MySQL shell. We need to connect to the MySQL database and perform some configuration. We'll do that in the next presentation. Thank you. Stay tuned. Let's now complete the site configuration, that is the WordPress configuration. We got to point the IP address for this. So whatever is the IP assigned, so that you need to provide. So yeah, English, database name, username, password, host. Welcome to. Before starting, you need to have the information. You need the following item before proceeding: database name. User database name is WordPress, username is WP, and we have given the database password we have created, and database host is of course the local host. You don't need to do. Table prefix is WP underscore. So all the information, that's why we had configured the MySQL. So we have all that. So we will say go. So we'll click on go. WordPress already has come, and here it is WP and password. We'll see that let's not make a mistake. So we'll see the password what we had entered in the Linux environment. So we'll give the password which is my. So we'll submit the information. Say submit. So this one, it says unable to write. That's fine. You can create WP config manually and paste this text into that. We need to copy that. We'll do that. So just copy. Then you need to get into the Linux, and then you got to create a file WP config and have that pasted. So get into the HTML. So change directory HTML, and all the WordPress related one. If you look at, you have WP config sample is there, but in this case you need to create one as WP config PHP. So there is an editor called Nano. So have that. There is something called VI editor, as far as if you're comfortable with the Linux command line command. Then there are two editors. One is Nano, the easiest one, just like what you do with the MS Word. You can have the same kind of an approach with Nano. The earlier versions had VI editor. VI editor is a little complex in using it. So you can use the Nano editor. So you need to create a file. So Nano, it will open up the file wp config.php, and then you got to copy paste the entire entire whatever is mentioned here. You need to copy that in that file. So right click. So all set. So Control X and say Y for yes. So that will okay. Before that, we need to do one thing, because this doesn't have appropriate. OPC user doesn't have the privileges, so you need to move into sudo bash is the root privileges. Now you do a nano wp config.php, and now you copy the entire details and say Control X. Now say yes, it should write because that's a privilege issue. So now if you say you have WP config change mode 7.7, better to have it in this mode. So change this. So I think all set. So you can even do a nano. What we'll do is cat for listing the file, just to ensure that everything has been copied. So it has all the authorization key, database user, password, is all there. So the last one is require OBS path. So we'll see whether it is copied till that. require one's OBS path. We need to see whether it is still there. So it is till this one require, so the entire content has been copied into the WP config file. So now you need to run the installation. That will complete all the installation part. So they'll say run installation. So now you can give your own password as well. So I'll say demo, username can be, I'll say demo. I'll give demo, and I'll give my own password. Say demo 123. That is fine, because confirm use of weak password. So it's just demo 123. Let me make a note of it. So let's complete the installation. Say install, provide an email ID. Okay, I'll just say my own email ID .com. So let's now install. Yeah, it is successful. So the WordPress install is successful. So all this is done. Now what you need to do is you can point the IP address with the WP admin. You should be in a position to log in into the WordPress. We'll see that in the next presentation. Thank you. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So we have now successfully installed the WordPress. So it's all working fine. So what we need to do is we need to give the IP address, because we have not really we have not made any entry into the domain register. We don't have any domain register for this one. So till the time, once you have registered a domain, inside the domain you need to make one entry for this IP address. A record entry needs to be made. Once you make that entry for this IP address, then it maps whatever. If you say for example, I'm just giving the name as demo.com. If demo.com is then entered into the browser, then if you have an A entry which corresponds to the IP address, and if this IP address is mapped there, then once you type in demo.com, and particularly if that is available, demo.com is available, then it will automatically get routed to this IP. For now, yeah, you got to use towards development, you got to use this IP. So how do we get into the development? So to do that, you got to go into the WP admin. So then it will give you the user ID. Remember, we use demo, and it's demo 123. That's what we had configured. So once you give that, yes, we are all set. So you can have the plugins installed. You can, if you see the settings over here, it tracks to this particular IP. This is what needs to be changed at a later stage. Once you have your you have registered your domain meaning like whatever is the domain, like Oracle could refer to some IP address. So if that registered domain, you need to point over here instead of the URL. So the other plugins, you can add plugin. That's what we'll see. Those are the different, you can have different themes, different plugins. You can install the plugins. So we'll see that as we progress. But for the moment, yes, we have successfully installed the WordPress in the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure free tier. So stay tuned. Thank you.